All right. Welcome everybody, and welcome to good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. I guess it depending on where you are, and if you're listening this live podcast live, or if you're watching a recording. So welcome. This is Daniel Atensi. I am the CEO and co-founder of Holistic Health Solutions, and I want to welcome to today live podcast with on Bloodwork secret for fertility success. One normal labs don't tell you, and we have the pleasure to have with us today, Karen Rose. It's going to be our guest speakers. Hello, Karen. How are you?
Hello, doing well.
Excellent. And Karen is the CEO of Inspire Care and Holistic Fertility Coach. And well, Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So today goal of the podcast, and we took this subject because we want to educate current and aspiring wellness practitioners on the vital roles of functional blood work in fertility, which is Karen's going to talk to you about it, and highlight the demand for specialists, showcase a successful approach, and also inspire listeners to pursue this niche for who they wanted to or find out more about it. So, Karen, again, welcome and thank you for being with us and for your time. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, so I am a holistic fertility coach, and I am helping women and couples to essentially find a different path to getting pregnant. And so when clients come to me, they will there's a variety of reasons of why they may not be getting pregnant. And so I work with them. We first kind of figure out what exactly they need, where to start. But a lot of times I'm starting with them either helping them to understand their cycle to make sure that they're timing things correctly, or diving right into blood work. And so we'll get more into that throughout this conversation. But really just providing hope to couples that they feel like they do not have any other options. And
Right.
what I like to tell them is that they actually have a lot of options, and solving their fertility issues holistically is actually going to provide way more benefits in the long term in terms of not only helping them get pregnant, but also helping them to have healthier pregnancies with less complication and to improve the health of their future baby and also reduce their risk of chronic disease in the future.
Wow, very nice, very nice. Thank you, thank you. So let's start a little bit with the big picture, Karen. So, from your perspective as a specialist, what is the current state of fertility challenges in the US? Because I see that I think I was reading some statistic. I believe that the rate of populations of newborns is not much lower than what it was before.
Yeah, so right now we're at about 1 in 6 people struggle with infertility. And of those numbers, about a third of that is related to the female, a third of that is related to the male partner, and then a third of that is actually both male and female are contributing to the infertility. And so those numbers are very high. I mean, 1 in 6 is crazy for something that is so, basic and important for the for the
Right.
survival of humans, and just reproduction. But I think a lot of people are probably familiar with the Pottinger's cats study and the impact of, health and what it has on future generations. And so unfortunately, I think that it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. And then in addition to that, right now, there are not a lot of great options, or they're at least not widely known. And so for a lot of people, they view fertility as either you get pregnant easily. Most people think they're going to be able to get pregnant easily until they can't. Um, and then they go straight to whether it's their doctor or a reproductive fertility specialist. Most often they're pushed straight to IUI and IVF. And so there is a huge lack of these in-between options and what they can do without jumping straight to IVF. So there's a huge problem in terms of infertility right now, but I think there's also a lot of opportunity because fertility clients are looking for better options, options that don't require them to, have to inject themselves with a bunch of drugs and go through all these procedures that are
Right.
not very
Yeah,
nice.
invasive, right?
Yeah, and they're really most often very motivated clients, which is actually really fun because they really want to get pregnant. They want it so badly and they have been trying for so long in a lot of cases. And so they will a lot of times do what you say. And so that part is
Right.
fun with.
That's great. That's great. Well, yeah, absolutely. I believe that also with, I mean, overall, I believe with COVID that happened has been a complete like increase of awareness overall of everyone in relation to find natural solution to problems and you know increase their wellness and boost the immunity and I believe this in a way is a bit of also ripple effect to that thing. I don't know if you agree with that, but
Yeah, I think people are becoming more aware. When I started on my own, journey to better health 15 years ago, there weren't nearly as many options. A lot of people, it kind of felt like people thought that like holistic healthcare was a little bit woo-woo. And I feel
yeah,
like that's definitely changing, which is super, super exciting. It's becoming a lot easier to, um, get people to understand that nutrition is really a big underlying cause of their health concerns, and that's what they need to
right,
focus on.
right. It's not more woohoo anymore, right?
It's definitely changing, which is exciting.
Yes, that's great. Now, going back to the point of the sort of the landscape and I think you were telling me about like that there is a bit frequent people coming to you that they say, hey, all my frustration with my normal lab result, uh, but I'm still not getting pregnant or whatever the desired result. Do you believe that there is an opportunity for other wellness practitioners to specialize in this field and or what kind of demand do you see happening right now?
Yeah, so I mean, really, women and couples that are struggling with infertility are so just tired and fed up of being told that everything is fine or to just keep trying and come back in 6 months or a year, or that their labs are normal. The unexplained infertility diagnosis is incredibly frustrating for patients, and so they're really losing faith quickly in the medical industry, which in a way is really good for us as holistic healthcare practitioners. But we sort of have doctors on a pedestal, and I think that they're really losing that pedestal quickly with fertility patients because they're not getting the answers that they need. And so I think there really is a lot of opportunity for us as holistic healthcare practitioners to come in and really truly give them answers and help them get to the actual like true root cause of why they are struggling to get pregnant. And there's so much more hope. So if they're pursuing a path like IUI or IVF or any sort of medicated journey to get pregnant, they're really just sort of overriding their fertility in order to like force a baby in a body that is
Right.
not ready. But we can offer them so much more hope because not only are we helping them get pregnant, but like I said before, we're helping them to have a healthy, low risk pregnancy. We're helping them to reduce the risk of miscarriage, to reduce the risk of long term chronic disease, to help influence the health of their baby in a very positive way. So there's so many more benefits, and I think that's really exciting and encouraging, and an option that a lot of people would absolutely choose if they knew that it was an option.
Right. That's amazing. That's so awesome. All right, well, let's move to your journey, right? So how this will becoming holistic fertility coach it came about. Like, can you share a little bit about your what led you down this path? And if it was like an aha moment that you say, hey, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a little bit different of a background than most healthcare professionals. So I was a software engineer actually for 15 years, and I
Wow.
worked my way into high level leadership. And so in those leadership roles, I did a lot of coaching of female engineers, and I really liked that aspect of the job. And I've always sort of had this passion for working with women and navigating just the unique challenges that we face given our physiology. So while I was climbing the career ladder, I was also dealing with my own reproductive health issues. I have PCOS, endometriosis. We struggled with infertility for a little bit with our first child. And I just was really unhappy with all of the options. I tried a lot of different types of doctors and modalities, and I didn't know about NRT at the time, and also functional medicine was like barely a thing. So for me personally, I learned everything that I needed to on my own to overcome my health challenges and get rid of my symptoms. And like I had really, really bad menstrual cramps and was able to overcome all of that. And so while I was working kind of along with all of these things that were going on in, over this time, I also wanted to become a certified fertility awareness instructor because understanding my own cycle totally changed my life and just helped me to have a better picture of my own health. And so, in my free time, I was teaching women how to chart their cycle in a lot of depth and really understand their hormones. And one of the things that I teach is that the menstrual cycle for women gives us really unique insight into our overall health. And it's because reproduction is one of the first systems to be impacted when something is off in our body. We Our cycle is one of the first places that it shows up, even before we have other symptoms. So this is super
Wow.
powerful information. And so because of that, what I started to learn was that most every client that I worked with had issues and slight imbalances in their cycle that pointed to underlying health issues that needed to be addressed. And so I started referring them out, and again was just not happy with the results or how the solutions that they were given. And so over time, I would say there was not really an aha moment for me. It was more over
Mhm.
time. I just realized that I could, help them more myself. And so
Right.
through, more of a long journey, I then, went through a lot of various training because this is a complete career shift for me. And I started working with clients. And then finally, last year, I quit my full-time job and have been diving, you know, headfirst into a completely different industry now. And it's been really, really fun. And we're going big. Like I want to be, as big as IVF clinics, and my goal is to spread the message about how important holistic health is, especially for fertility, so that women know it's an option and they don't need to step foot into a fertility specialist office for IUI or IVF.
Right. I mean, or they can come to you as a fertility specialist.
Right.
That's great. That's awesome. Very inspiring. Now, you mentioned like when we were talking, I think also we touched base, like you were talking to us about the fact of how you're using the nutritional blood chemistry panel that you learned through our training as the foundations of something that you're requiring. So for the audience, how do you approach blood work differently from a conventional approach? Like, what is that you're looking at? I mean, obviously, without going too technical about it, but how do you use this as a tool?
Yeah. So when a lot of clients come to me, they will a lot of times tell me that they had lab workups done with their doctor and they're all normal. And what I will tell them in a very empathetic way is that your labs are not normal and I'm going to show you where. And so a lot of times that gives them hope because they really know um, they know that their doctor did not look deep enough. One second.
Hmm. Understood. That makes sense because, well, if they were normal, I mean, obviously they would get the result, right? Like, I guess that everything, but if they still have a problem, so obviously something is off.
Yeah. So there are three problems that I usually talk about with how conventional medicine approaches lab work. So the first one is that a lot of times they are testing hormones, which if someone is not getting pregnant within a few cycles and they're timing things appropriately, then I already know that their hormones are likely off. And then I verify that by in-depth charting. And so within one cycle, I can see if their hormones are, I can get way more information from that than I can, than they would be able to get from blood work for hormones specifically. And the other thing with hormones is that they are just another, like, imbalanced hormones are just another symptom. They're not truly the underlying cause.
Mm.
And so with the blood panel, we actually look at all of the different body systems and how the body's working. And we truly get to the underlying cause of why their hormones are off. The second thing is that doctors and conventional medicine are primarily looking for a diagnosis and they're looking at lab ranges that are meant to flag if something is, quite high or low or out of range. They're not really looking for optimal health. So by showing my clients where they have markers that are not out of the clinical range, but they are out of the range for optimal health, and that difference can have such an impact on fertility, they start to see what's really going on. And then
Right.
the third thing is that in conventional medicine, they are not looking at enough by any means. So all of my clients will send me the blood work that they've had done, and it's usually like 20 to 30 different markers. And with the nutritional blood chemistry panel, we are pulling 75 different markers. So it's a huge difference. And one of my favorite examples is that of all of these clients that have sent me their lab results that their doctor has gotten for them, I've never had anyone send me a fasting insulin. And so
Wow.
with blood sugar, for people that are maybe not familiar, there's three primary markers that you'll want to look for with blood sugar. It's fasting glucose, A1C, and fasting insulin. Most of the time, they're just looking at glucose and A1C. But fasting insulin can actually predict the onset of diabetes 13 years prior to a fasting glucose or A1C. And so the difference is just drastic. It's so important to pull that marker. And there's more, that factors into blood sugar balance, but even just being, pulling those right markers for them and helping them see that their blood sugar is, that their fasting insulin is too high is so helpful because that having insulin resistance or improving their insulin sensitivity can have such a drastic impact on their fertility and their egg health and ovulation and all of that.
Wow, fascinating. That's great. Thank you. All right, so going into like, I mean, there is many of our listeners that are wellness practitioners or aspiring practitioners. They may be thinking, this is something, an area that is it's interesting area that I would like to get into, right? So now, based on your experience, what would be your advice for someone that would be interested to become maybe become a specialist in this arena? Like, what sort of foundational knowledge they should have or training that it became essential to you and your success?
So, of course, having the blood work and being able to help clients see so first of all, with blood work, um, everyone is used to getting that done, and it is not, no one really questions it. It's like so black and white for people. And so it makes it a lot easier for them to really see what's going on, and to be used as a communication tool between practitioner and the patient or client. So that is really, really helpful. But in in addition, nutrition underpins everything that I do. So those are kind of the basics. But I would say the thing that really sets this apart from sort of a general wellness practice is really having in-depth knowledge on the female reproductive cycle and the four key reproductive hormones and how they work, and being able to work with them in understanding their cycle. And one of the things that I do is help them see progress. So they start charting their cycle right away, and we can see, is their estrogen high enough? Is their LH surge high enough? Do they have a long enough luteal phase? Like, we're looking at all of these different factors. And over time, as they're making changes, it's another tool that helps them to see progress. So if their luteal phase is too short, that's going to cause major issues for getting pregnant. But over time, as they're able to see that lengthen and see their hormones improve, it's really motivating and helps us to sort of see like where we're at. It's sort of like it gives us kind of a progress report. And so I think just really understanding the female cycle and how it works is really important. And especially in a world where a lot of, women are going to practitioners that or doctors that don't have a in-depth understanding of it, it really helps you stand apart.
That's great. Appreciate it. Thank you. Now, well, we are proud that, like you have completed both our intro to blood work chemistry course and our course in nutrition coaching here at the Holistic Health Solutions. So how is this specific training help you to your skill set to utilize to be where you are right now?
Yeah. So everything starts with nutrition. So I've really incorporated nutrition training and education as the foundation of my program. Um, Part of it is I love food. I love healthy food, and I love having energy because of the food that I eat. And so my goal is to really help my clients to not feel like they're having to go on a diet that's so restrictive and they can't eat anything, but really starting to learn about and fall in love with eating healthy food that is going to just make them feel so much more amazing than the ultra processed food that they're probably eating. And to get them excited about it. And so that is the foundation of, that's where we start in terms of helping them to start to improve their overall health and fertility. And then the blood work obviously is So the blood work is really the starting point in terms of helping them to first see the problem and what's going on and where we need to start, and it gives them that motivation, and then we start with that foundation of nutrition. And then in addition to that, the blood work really helps us to know where to focus. So a lot of times we're either starting with having a better understanding of blood sugar balance and eating to balance blood sugar, or focusing, on digestive health and gut health, or sometimes both. And so the blood work helps us to really kind of narrow in on where
Right.
is the best place to start.
Yeah. So kind of the blood, once you have the blood work, you kind of work out the tailor nutrition program for that specific, whatever is needed, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Great. Now, can you share with us, like, obviously privacy is paramount, but without giving names or anything, can you share like a success story, maybe about clients that kind of stand up to you that maybe came that, oh yeah, my blood work is all normal, but I'm still having a problem. So what do we do? Like, can you share something of something that happened to you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a client that I'm working with right now. I'm working with the couple, and they have secondary infertility. So they do have one child, but they have now been trying for their second for over a year. They went to a conventional medicine fertility specialist, and they were told that they needed to try 4 rounds of IUI before IVF. And so they tried 2 rounds. Um, and it was really an undesirable experience for her. It made her dizzy. The meds made her dizzy, gave her hot flashes. She had sleep issues. And so, um, and what was just really interesting to me is that, so fast forward to I started working with them, and we've been tracking her cycle, and she has perfect hormones, like almost perfect hormones. And what is interesting about that is they were giving her drugs to induce ovulation when she is ovulating perfectly on her own. And
Oh,
it's really, I mean, the reason they do that is because they need to time it appropriately, but it's really unnecessary and adds a lot of unnecessary cost. So that was just very interesting to me. But we ran the blood work right away. We did it for both of them. And we, so because we were then tracking her cycle, I also had her do a progesterone lab on day 7 after ovulation. She had great progesterone. And so with all of this information, we were able to narrow it down to the male partner likely being the primary contributing factor to infertility. And specifically within their panel and within the spreadsheet that I showed them of all of his markers, um, that were so I guess the other thing I was going to mention too is that when I looked, when you compare both of their um, panels and blood work, she did not really have much going on. Like there was one little thing that we were addressing, but it was more so him. And so we were really able to narrow that down to what I think is sort of the primary focus. And then we're able to really zero in on that and work on that. And of course, they're both working on nutrition and doing all the things to improve their fertility together, but being able to show them very specifically what what is going on, and why they're likely not getting pregnant is just totally game changing. And what was really cool about this is all they needed to do was to see the blood work, and they made a ton of changes on their own. And I only had to do these little, refinements and tweaks with them, but they completely changed their diet overnight, like on their own. And so
wow,
it was so cool, to see that.
that's great. That's awesome. And I'm sure that they're happy too as a result of that because you were able to, like you mentioned, you were able to zero into the real problem, the real cause of a problem that opened the door to solutions, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that's great. All right, so last question before we wrap up. So what is a key of advice that you can give to somebody that is a practitioner that would like to get help navigating fertility challenge and truly make a difference in their lives using a functional approach?
Yeah, I think what really comes to mind is just recognizing and understanding the path that women and couples have gone on in their infertility journey before they find you. Um, it can be really harsh out there. Just, they're not treated very well, and they're not given very great options, or, you know, they turn to the internet and they're trying all these random things and nothing is working. And so they're just exhausted. A lot of times they've lost hope. They've, put a lot of emotions. It's a very emotional process because they're trying to, add to their family, and they really care deeply about it. And they never thought it was going to be this hard. And they've also put a lot of money into it in a lot of cases. And so, really just meeting them where they're at and having empathy for what they're going through, while, also giving them hope that, not again, like, not only will you be able to help them get pregnant, but potentially having this infertility journey could be the best thing that ever happened to them, because now they're more open to, they've opened their eyes and these doors to this path of finding true healthcare. And my hope is that, that is really life changing for them in such a good way, because it helps them, again, like, have better, healthier pregnancies. They're impacting the health of their future children in a better way, and they're reducing the risk of chronic disease. And so there's just so much that you can, help them with by just truly helping them to understand the root cause of their infertility and addressing it through nutrition and lifestyle.
That's great. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, well, Karen, your story has been super insightful and truly inspiring. So first of all, I want to thank you for your time. And if somebody would like to reach you, like what would be the best way to reach you at?
So my website is inspira.care. So inspira.care.
Okay, great. And then is there like maybe Instagram account or somebody who want to send you a DM can reach you at?
Yes, for sure. So that is also the same. So it's inspira.care on Instagram.
Awesome. Okay, so if anyone have question for Karen who would like to reach to her, you know, please do so. And I'm sure that she will take care of you. Now, for anybody else listener that I hope that you've been inspired by Karen journey and her powerful message and approach. Well, if you look into some more training or foundations like Karen did, like we here at Holistic Health Solution, we offer the training as on the functional blood chemistry course, and also the complete course on nutrition's coach. So we are going to drop a link for our page, give informations. We actually have, if you buy the course, these two courses as a package, you actually become basically you're trained as a functional nutrition, and therefore like we have actually a discount, so you can look into in the link, I guess, on the side of the chat. Okay. Now, if you have any questions and you have sent questions, we will definitely answer you. We just ran out of time, so for respect of everybody's times, like we want to wrap up. But there you go. Like the training actually, Karen, like I mean, you did the training a while ago, but how long did it take you to do the training? Just last question, just for people get an idea on the between the Bloodwork training and the nutrition coach training.
So I'm probably a bit of an anomaly with the blood work training. I think I went through it in a day and a half because I was so excited about it and it would give me the ability to work with remote clients. So I just binge watch it.
Yeah.
But I actually am going through it again now.
Uh-huh.
As I have been doing more and more, I learn something new every time. So it's really actually helpful to be able to go back and watch specific sections of it. And then the nutrition course I watched, oh gosh, I don't really remember how long it took. But that was, what is really nice about it is you can watch it just like
Right.
sections at a time. So and then what's nice about that one too is it's broken up into the different sections and how you would do the sessions. So that one probably took me a few months to get through that, but I kind of went through it slowly, and so it's very manageable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, like for anyone that is not familiar with the nutrition coaching course, is a complete like business in a box. Is actually, I believe, is uh, I mean, that can be if I mean you don't need to binge watching it, but if it's done if it's done intensively, that can also be completed on a weekend. But each person can go. Is all recorded? Both courses, all trainings, are all recorded, so you can go at your own pace, and so you can do it like intensively, or you can do it after hours. If somebody already have another professions, they are transitioning, so completely up to you. And obviously, we are here to answer questions and to help you with that. With that say again, Karen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your journey to tell about your story. I think it's an incredible story. We all fell in love with you immediately when we found out about it. And so I'm sure we're going to collaborate more about it. And then thank you also all of you that came and that to join us today live podcast. And again, there is the link live on the chat. And otherwise, if you watching this podcast as a replay, you're welcome to reach to us, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. So again, thank you and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.